entitled this Ag Tech at the Crossroads, Promise versus Practicality. And to help us answer that question, we've got four truly amazing contributors. Aline Lukalesa, the Agri-Innovator think tank, will be joining us online together with Jürgen Audenart from John Deere. And then here in the room, we have Daniela Lut, Policy Officer at DG Research and Innovation. Daniela, you're very welcome. And a first for the forum, we had Mike Massimino, the astronaut, US astronaut, with us at the annual conference. So it's beyond delight that we have Stefan Schneider with us from the European Space Agency to give us a European perspective on these questions. So we've given you an opening three minutes each, and that's what you've got. We'd asked you to answer the question of what excites you most about the role of AI and digitization in transforming the agri-food system. I will, as always, give you chairman's discretion to answer that question in any way that you want. Stefan, I wonder if we might start with you, and then we'll bring our two guests in online, and we'll finish the opening statements with you, Daniela, if that's okay. Stefan, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much to the European Landowners Organization. Thank you also to MEP Grappini for inviting USPA. I have to correct you a little bit, Mark. We are the European Union Agency for the Space Program. There's also ESA, the European Space Agency, but they do different things than we do. Yeah, thank you very much. We are very happy to be here as USPA, as the agency of the European Union for the Space Program, because we believe that we can contribute to the future of agriculture in a very big part. And maybe some of you know that with Galileo, the European satellite positioning system, and Copernicus, the European observation program, we are trying to play our part in the future of agriculture, to make it smarter and to make it more environmentally friendly. And we can already see the impact in certain ways that satellite technology is playing at the moment for European farmers.
Thank you very much. And also, as you corrected me quite rightly on my introduction, it does show you that eventually my role will also be redundant, because you can definitely automate the moderation and then you get it absolutely correct. We'll come back to you with questions, Stefan. Thank you very much indeed for that. Aline, I think you're joining us online. Can I pass the floor to you for that similar question? What excites you the most? And again, you can answer that in any way you like. Is Aline with us online?
Hello. Do you hear me?
Very good. We can indeed. The floor is yours, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon for all. My name is Aline Luculasa. I'm a farmer in Romania and an active member of Romanian Farmers Club, where in collaboration with other young farmers, we founded the Agri-Innovator think tank, a working group dedicated to advancing digitalization in agriculture. In 2022, together with other young farmers from the think tank, I was honored with the Best Digitalization Project in Agriculture Award for a project modeled on my own farm, where I produce cereals sustainably through conservation agriculture and digital innovation in a region considered marginal for industrial farming. Agriculture is clearly unpredictable. We depend heavily on natural ecosystems and the climate, which exposes us to constant risk. Yet, with the rise of new technologies, digitalization, and AI, agriculture can become far more secure. Two key dimensions stand out. Adaptive biotechnologies that develop plant and animal varieties with enhanced resistance and adaptability to an ever-changing environment marked by increasing anomalies, and the integration of digitalization and AI, which together can algorithmically drive every aspect of agri-food operation. In mathematics, any real-world problem can be translated into a mathematical algorithm that delivers a precise solution. By converting hard-to-control variables, climate patterns, soil condition, market data into quantitative inputs, we can achieve dramatically higher predictability and resilience in agriculture. To fully unlock the potential of this innovation, we need open data infrastructure like interoperable platforms, standard APIs, and public repositories for climate, soil, and market data, public-private partnerships, and financial support and clear regulations. Thank you.
Thanks so much indeed, Aline. Well, many questions to come back to you on as well as we move forward. I'm going to pass the word now to Jürgen Adenauer from John Deere. Again, same question to you. However you'd like to answer it. What's exciting you about the developments that we're seeing in this space? The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mark. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Very good. Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you also from my side for the honor to be able to present here and for the invitation. And I'll try to give a short first reply on this. I think, the innovation, not only in digitalization and AI, but also with precision ag technology as a key enabler. What excites us is that this has a key opportunity to both deliver more value to our customers, the farmers and the contractors, and at the same time, enable more sustainable farming practices. It's our focus and drive every day, to solve the key problems of our customers and do that by really analyzing their production systems, whether it's in arable crops or whether it's in dairy and livestock. And in each of the steps, think about what are opportunities to reduce wastes and improve quality and yield. And there are significant challenges, of course, that's the customers and agriculture is facing. The four main ones for us is how customers can be more profitable in a very volatile market environment, how they can produce more food and better food with less inputs, seed, fertilizer, chemical, and water availability, how to adopt and contribute to climate change. And then the fourth one is how to address labor challenges. We have seen already the last 15 to 20 years quite some exciting advancements, I would say, in the precision of how machines are utilized in the field. So we have seen a significant uptake in the last couple of years on high precision guidance, where machines are precisely guided on the field up to 2 centimeter accuracy. And with that, also having the ability to switch machines on and off very precisely to minimize overlap. Now, as a next step, we see that we connect the machines to digital platforms and create the ability also to optimize the machines and the fields by collecting a lot of data, which is key for enabling the opportunity of AI. And we have some very interesting breakthrough innovations coming where we think that we can make some step change in how we plant, how we fertilize, and how we protect our crops and how we harvest our crops. And for example, the high precision spot spraying technology at John Deere, this is called See and Spray, that enables to only spray the wheat, and by that minimizing the use and the risk of crop protection products, while at the same time maintaining or growing yields and providing more sustainable outcomes. And then, of course, we're also on a journey towards more automation and even towards the first autonomous type of applications, where also AI plays a key role to address the challenges of skilled labor, especially also because farming is getting more complex with tighter operating windows, larger operations, and skills to do the job at the right time. So that's a very exciting journey. I think I would call out probably in terms of, what's important elements to address in order to further accelerate the adoption and growth. When we talk with our customers along those developments, for them, it is extremely important that there is a very clear, reliable, and consistent long-term vision of where agriculture is going. Once that is given, there's a faster certainty of customers to also rapidly invest in those technologies, knowing that they can also use them for the next couple of years. So that's just a few first points from my side.
Great, thank you. Thanks so much indeed, Jürgen. Again, many questions to come back with, and I should also say that we'll be looking to involve our participants here in the room as well. So I assure you that the questions will certainly not all be from me, as limited as that would make us. Daniela, the floor is yours.
Yes, many thanks, Mark. First of all, also many thanks for the invitation. Great to be here. So I'm working in DG Research and Innovation. So we work with Horizon Europe. I think sometimes it's good to remind us that this is the world's biggest publicly funded research program. So we have fantastic opportunities within that. We mainly work within Cluster 6. So that's in the area of agriculture, but very closely related sectors, forestry, environment, bioeconomy, and food. So it's all connected. We really work in a systemic approach. So what you produce has to be processed and bought, of course. And here we see digitalization, AI really as a means to an end. And also as a means to an end for areas, Cluster 6 is very strongly rooted in social sciences. So someone has to use it. You have to make use of capacity building. It needs to be applied. So it's all connected, and it's really a tool that can bring us forward. And I think what is exciting there is the immense speed. We see exponential growth. I think that's something that is really difficult for us to imagine what that actually means in practice. And I think Katharina also mentioned that term that leads to democratization of innovation. And so we see also in our Horizon Europe projects, we see a range of applications that can be used by small players, small actors, SMEs, with much lower costs, much more user-friendly than we've seen before. And that also allows us to kind of use creative approaches. So I think digitalization only goes together with social approaches. So when we use that together smartly, we can really step up and move beyond that. And also, especially when we look at the current discussions in terms of focusing on competitiveness, we have the competitiveness compass. We can make sure with digitalization and innovation, it's easier that competitiveness and also sustainability are two sides of the same coin. So I think there we really have opportunities. I stop here, but happy to explore more. Thanks.
Daniela, thank you also, and thank you to all the panelists for their very concise but informative opening remarks. As you went last, Daniela, I can just jump right in with a question. I mean, you talked about Horizon Europe, the research program that we have here is one of the things that I think the European Union can and is rightly most proud of. The recurring question I have when I go right around the world is how do we move the research from pilot applications to scale, and how do we make sure that that is done in collaboration, not just with the private sector, but with the farmers themselves? Do you have a perspective on that and the role that you and the EU can play in that respect?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that question. So first of all, I mean, Horizon Europe, it's a co-creation process with the member states, and there has been a call to, first of all, also to really focus more on innovation. So what we've done now, when we look at Cluster 6 in the Work Program 25, that was just last month published, we see 1/3 of the projects are innovation actions. So they have to have a TRL, technology readiness level, of 5 to 8 at least. So that's really a step forward. Now, you need solid foundational research to some extent, so you also need other types of activities, but there's clearly a strong focus on that. Then, of course, Horizon Europe, or the work program, operates closely together with the EIC, with the European Innovation Council that operates under Horizon Europe. We have 10 billion euro for that. They have a range of activities, and they really help from really lower TRL level with what they call the Pathfinder. Then you have a TRL level of 1 to 4, really moving to accelerator. So really to bringing solutions to the market. So I think that is another aspect. And if I may add just another one, because we have a range of horizontal activities that are, of course, very relevant also for the agricultural sector. Just the startup and scale-up strategy has just been published end of last month, because exactly is what we see. We have fantastic research, but we lack bringing it to the market, scaling it. And this strategy really is helping. It's helping with capacity building, capital investment. And I think that's really all these activities that can focus on different sectors, including agriculture and food systems.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks so much indeed. Daniel, we'll be back to you as we go through this. I just want to go to Aline and also to Jürgen, a couple of follow-up questions from what you said. Aline, first of all, just say a little bit more about how you're seeing digital tools and technologies like real-time data, AI, smart machinery. How is that? Say a bit more about how that's changing day-to-day operations, for you and for others.
From my perspective as a farmer, digital tools have truly transformed my day-to-day work. The data they provide allow me to tailor every decision to each individual field, so much so that I've cut fertilizer use by 50% across the entire farm without any loss in yield. Almost real-time satellite imagery gives me detailed stress maps highlighting water deficit, disease outbreaks, or nutrient shortages in my cereal crops. Issues I simply couldn't spot with the naked eye. That means I can treat exactly the spots that need attention instead of applying chemicals everywhere. Yet the biggest challenge isn't the technology itself, but my teams relax to embrace it. They worry that new systems will leave them feeling out of control. As a result, I have to be on the farm constantly, monitoring every alert and stepping in at a moment's notice to make sure these digital solutions work as intended, and that demand on my time remain high.
So that makes sense. Hopefully, Jürgen, you were able to just listen to what Aline was saying there. So I'm going to put a similar question to you, but what are your customers saying, whether that's in Europe, whether it's in the US, in Latin America, Asia, other parts of the world? What are you hearing from the customers that they're saying in terms of how this is transforming their day-to-day benefits? And is there operations, and is there a difference between the regions?
Yeah, maybe let's first come to maybe kind of what our customers are saying, how this is changing their daily operations and working on the farms. I mean, it's a journey, right? I mean, there are so many opportunities. I mean, we even internally, define 4 levels of, what kind of technologies customer may adopt to unlock more value, to optimize the machine, to improve the job quality, and then also to enable better agronomic decisions for, truly impacting, yields and input cost. I think for us, a really key is that the value that a new solution brings is well understood, is well seen also on their farm. And it's extremely important for us that we deliver solutions that are easy to implement in daily operations, because the time windows are extremely short, and customers need to use and implement it in a short manner. What it changes in many cases is that if they want to fully embrace it, they need to plan more upfront when they're going to execute, for example, plant nutrition or crop protection. Once they have planned it upfront, and then sent basically the prescription to the machine, then it can seamlessly be executed with one click at the bottom to go. And that's an extremely important element. We've also done a lot on both training the operators as well as even developing our distribution channel with dealers, with specialists that can help them to implement those technologies on the farm and then realize the benefits. And then the third step that we're currently doing is we are actually measuring also from all the new technologies that we deliver to customers, how intensively they are using the technology. Because if a customer is sold, if a technology is sold, but actually the utilization is not at the level where we would expect it, we want to find out what's the reason. Do we need more training? Do we need to improve the user experience? Or is some of the value not clear enough to them? So those are, I think, different aspects. I think the adoption and interest is happening in 3 major areas around the world. For sure in North America, also in South America, like countries in Brazil, where you have large operations, but also in Europe. I think we have here the unique element around very intensive farming, very high yields, very strong, of course, also sustainability requirements. So the specific elements in terms of adoption differ sometimes of which technology are adopted first in which parts of the market, but they are all pretty relevant. And ultimately, I think in terms of what it takes to be successful on adoption of those technologies around the world are pretty similar when it comes to customer behavior.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to look around the room and say if there are questions from the audience, from the participants that want to come in. I see a hand raised there. Just hold that, Mom, for just a second while I just close this first round with one more question to you, Stefan. You talked about satellite technology in your opening. I think sometimes we see these things as a panacea, a silver bullet. So I'm going to ask you your perspective on what the current limitations are of satellite technology in agriculture, whether that be resolution, frequency, environmental constraints, and how you see us breaking through them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. This is a very interesting question. And I just wanted to also support Jürgen, what he was saying, that we can see that the adoption is quite far for a lot of farmers. We can see also that as we are USPA, so we are very much engaged in also supporting European companies, the industry, to adopt the space technologies that we are developing here in Europe. But of course, there are limitations. There are limitations in frequency, for example. So if we are talking about Earth observation, it is limited to 4 or 5 days. So you don't have it like ready every day or every hour. So this is a limitation. Limitation is also the weather. So today is a bad weather. So it is cloudy. And this means that from an Earth observation perspective, there's a limitation. Another limitation is also that the data you're getting, especially on Earth observation, is very big, and this needs to be processed, and this takes time, and therefore this is another thing. Sometimes it takes 24 hours, sometimes it takes 48 hours, and this could be a problem, because if you have an imminent issue on your field, like water irrigation or drought, you name it, you need to act now. You need to act fast as a farmer, and those are limitations which we are still facing in the space technology. I'm sure it will be solved at one point, but for the moment we are still working with that. And on the other hand, we are seeing also that the industry is very creative. They're using new technologies. We just rolled out when used by the so-called HAS service, the high accuracy service, where we can narrow the navigation signal down to decimeter level to make it even more precise when we are talking about precision farming. So it is not like 100% for the moment. We are getting there. But of course, a very big problem that we still see is that you need to buy this technology. If you're talking about John Deere and you have a harvester from Claas, you have a problem because they're two different systems. So we hear that also a lot when we are talking to farmers from USPA. If we are asking them, how do you adopt the space technology? Say, yeah, I have 2 different companies on my field and 3 systems. So this is also a problem that we as USPA cannot solve, but we see that in our contact with farmers in Europe.
Great. Thank you for that very, very honest and very practical assessment of where we are and where we go next. And you're quite right that operability between different systems from different companies is something that we hear a lot also coming from the field. I'm going to do a final round for this session. And I will also ask Maria to give you your final takeaways from what you've heard, if it's okay if I do that. Or...
Yeah, around 1 hour and a half, I have my fly.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult. I don't know what traffic there will be. It was for me very interesting, but I hope we'll receive me conclusion for this debate because it's very important.
I'm scribbling away, so I promise to send you the follow-up. No problem at all. Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
Multimus.
I hope it's not last meeting. And I like to participate, but time is problem for me.
No problem.
Thank you.
Maria,
Thank you
thanks
very
so much
much.
indeed.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as Maria just steps away, I'm going to bring the audience, and then I've got a final question in this session that I want to put to all of you as panelists, which I do give you the right to decline to answer. I want you to imagine where we are in 2035, and I want you to tell me whether you lean towards this being a revolution in the way, a disruption and revolution in the way we do agriculture, or whether you believe it leans more towards the normal incremental pace of technological change. So you can say, I lean towards this or the other, or you can decline to answer for fear of being taken down and quoted in evidence against you. Ma'am, the floor is yours. Please say who you are and where you're from.
So, my name is Stella Veliki. I have studied physics and informatics. I'm a member of the European Physical Society. And I have some question concerning the blockchain utilization for the market distribution and logistic. It's not so clear for me. Can somebody give me an example how used to this blockchain architecture? The other one is you have blockchain and artificial intelligence. My question is, what for future projects do you have in this way? And a very important question, do you have alerts for the small farms that are using blockchain and artificial intelligence? They must have alarms that give them a danger or something happen that is not so good. I never heard here somebody speaking about alarms. Okay,
very good. That's a difficult one for me to farm out. I might ask you to take on at least the first part of that, Daniela. You're looking down. I think you might be able to take that, and I think we'll come to you, Jorgen, for that last part in terms of what companies are developing in terms of AI and blockchain to still deal with some of the issues that were raised there. So Daniela, first to you.
Yeah. I don't know the details of these specific projects, but there have been Horizon Europe projects using blockchain. I believe some of them are also still ongoing, so the final assessment and impact also still to be awaited, but the potential has been used in different applications. And I believe not only in agriculture as such, but in a broader spectrum in food systems when it comes to traceability. For example, there have been some traceability projects also on food safety. There have been some projects who have been using that, and also some innovation activities. So really some that have to come also to a higher TRL level and have to showcase their value on the market. Yes, thank you.
Jorgen, would you like to come in on that last part where you're seeing the developments, I suppose, from your company's point of view in terms of blockchain and AI?
Yeah, I'll do that. So first, maybe connecting it to the words that was mentioned around alerts. I will use two examples, and then I'll talk about one additional element around AI. So on alerts, we are using technologies of AI and machine learning and deep learning models, first of all, on the equipment. So far, every customer in the market, every farmer, when there is something happening with the machine, everything happens reactive. For example, there's a failure in the middle of the season, the machine is down, and then he needs to do some repairs. With the data that we collect nowadays, we can predict failures, and in the season when there is or in an hour of a day when the machine is not used, we can do preventative adjustments to prevent that more dramatic failures will happen in the season. So that's a system which we call expert alerts, which has seen some very interesting opportunities to significantly reduce the downtime and also the cost, because the more expensive costs are prevented. Second element, more connected to crop protection and also maybe a little bit around interoperability. We are also doing quite some collaborative developments together with industry partners on plant protection and plant nutrition. We do that, for example, with Yara, on crop protection with BASF, Xavio, and they are using the data that our machines are collecting to feed disease prediction models, which are then creating alerts when there is a disease alerts and when a spray advice needs to be done. And then when the farmer receives that message on his phone, he gets an advice, and then the prescription can be sent to the sprayer, and the sprayer can execute it based on those alerts. So those are two, I think, examples in terms of alerts from crop production and in terms of machine utilization. And then, of course, the other thing where we are very, very much developing into is utilizing AI technology and machine learning models to train the technology to recognize crop-specific data and weed-specific data to be able to do very precise and local treatments instead of doing broadcast applications with, for example, spot spraying of herbicides, but of course also other opportunities to do nutrient management in a much more advanced manner. In the same kind of technology development where we're using AI is also to train machines to operate without an operator. So for autonomous driving in the field, there's of course also autonomous driving projects for on-road traffic. But for us, there are much more diverse conditions happening around machines when they are operating in the field, and there to train all the different conditions, both in terms of safety precaution, but also to control the machine health and the job quality is something where we heavily develop and utilize AI and computer vision machine learning technologies.
That's great. Thanks, Jorgen. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Daniel. I would say that probably one of the more interesting places that I've seen blockchain technology, you mentioned traceability, was your ability to use blockchain to go back and look at crops and produce that have been produced with sustainability attributes and be able to follow that through the chain. Easier to do in specialty fruit and vegetable crops and livestock, perhaps harder in bulk commodity crops. But when you think about how we monetize regenerative agriculture, for example, being able to have that technology you can use for traceability moves us away from a mass balance approach to being much more precise on the sustainability benefits. So I think it has a lot of attributes. And if I sound knowledgeable about blockchain technology, I tell you that's almost as deep as I can go. So that's great. I'm just looking around the room again. Any other questions on this panel? Yes, sir. And then Max. Yeah.
Thank you so much. My name is Thierry Fotabon. I'm a master's student at UHASU studying statistics and data science. I have a question regarding the precision machines, which you're going to talk about. These machines are able to look at the crops and able to, get insights and data from there and kill weed spray and all of this. I want to know if you also talked about the fact that some aspects of the machines are not being utilized and you gather insights, and for each farmer, I want to ask how then do you use these insights you get for the particular farmer who doesn't utilize all of the functionality of that machine? And if at all you have solutions for maybe small scale farmers who maybe are able to get these advanced machines for their crop production. Thank you.
Great question, Thierry. Jorgen, I assume that you caught all of that. We'll give you the floor.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Once we are, there's of course analysis that we're making also on general trends in terms of utilization that we see across multiple users, and of course, the data is only shared if the user gives his consent. But together with the local sales partner from the customer, the dealer, they are then trying to show when he's using the technology, for example, what the performance of the machine is. When he's not using the technology, what then the performance is. So that's a thing that we first do, is not only measure utilization, but also measure the outcome. Do we see a difference if he's using the technology or not? And then if the technology is not utilized, then there are often, follow-up product trainings, on-field optimizations done with those type of examples. I think your second question also, which was related to the smaller farmers, and is also something that definitely has our attention. And also something which we have changed the last couple of years is that when we are introducing new technologies, we're not only able to introduce those new technologies on existing machines, but also on older machines, and sometimes even on non-John Deere machines. So trying to be able to install those technologies also as a kind of a universal solution on a broader scale of equipment. And we have that, for example, seen with the adoption of machine guidance, which started first, let's say, at relatively large equipment, but now meanwhile has mainstreamed also to much smaller equipment, and also being utilized at smaller farms or part-time farms. So trying to scale those solutions also to the size of the operations and the capabilities they have.
Thank you, Jorgen. Just before I pass to Max, Stefan, I just wanted, there was something that Thierry's question stimulated in my mind. When you put satellite data together with proprietary farm information data, what concerns, if any, you have about how we merge those two data sets and what that means for data privacy?
Well, I have to say that we are an agency, so we don't sell data. We do provide data like GNSS or Earth observation data. This data is for free, but then it is processed by someone else. And as far as it concerns USPA, we do everything according to GDPR, of course. But of course, we cannot control if you are a company from somewhere and you're using free EO data, what is going to happen? Yeah. So, but as long as it is concerns USPA, of course, we have to follow European rules. I mean, yeah.
And I think that's probably a topic we'll get into in the next panel. Okay, Max Schulman, last question in this session before I ask my panelists to nail their colors to the flag.
Thank you very much, and this has been very interesting. A very quick question that will involve Stefan, Jürgen, and Aline. How well do you see that interoperability from the satellite maps, what you can provide, how does it fit into your operations when you are building the machines, and how you as a farmer really see that you get the best out of it? We are not talking about machine-to-machine interoperability now. We are talking about from the image, from the satellite, all the way down to the farmer. And if it works well, fine, but what would you see that should be made better to be able to use fully the possibility from the satellite maps today?
Okay, we'll start at the satellite level. Stefan.
Well, I have to say that when we are talking to the European industry, when we are talking to, Jorgen just mentioned Xavio or BASF, they receive the same complaints like we do. And this is that a lot of farmers do complain about that, that you have like two different companies and free systems, and this is quite an issue. From my personal view, I think maybe you can compare that like in the 80s, where it was not clear if you have VHS or CD system or whatever, and then you had some Blu-ray, and in the end you had one winner. And maybe we are going to see a similar solution or a similar outcome here. As an agency, we hope that we will get the best solution for Europe and for European companies, of course, and for the European farmers.
Super. Jorgen?
Yeah, I would even pull it a bit broader than just satellite images, because there's a lot of connections that we need to make. I mean, I will maybe just first keep it then maybe on the digital side. So John Deere has the John Deere Operations Center, which is basically our platform where customers can manage their equipment, and not just John Deere equipment, as well as all their agronomic information on the fields. And we have meanwhile more than 300 connections established with other service providers, software partners. So first of all, that's very, very important, that we for sure, recognize the importance, especially in Europe, on interoperability. The second thing which we have also learned, I think, is that you really need to analyze the use case end to end and ensure how can we get really a seamless workflow. And we have done those kind of examples, with a few that I named, where we want to minimize the hurdle so that when the equipment collects data, the data has to go to a third party, which then maybe connects it also with remote satellite information. It goes back to the equipment. You create a work order, you have all your guidance lines, and then it goes to the machine. We have done pilots with customers, and we always try to use customers from the beginning till the end with those developments, where they, before the pilot, were hardly using it. And once we developed with them an end-to-end solution that worked seamlessly, you saw the adoption really growing. And also then they started to use variable rate, which it didn't do in the beginning. So I think that seamless connection, from all the way from setting up the system, planning the work, collecting the data, creating the agronomic prescription, sending it to the machine. And then sometimes you get even a second loop, right? Because if you think, for example, on nutrient application, you have typically 3 or 4 applications, or with crop protection, in some crops, like in potatoes, you can have 20 applications. The cycle needs to continuously roll. Otherwise, the system is behind with the data and it's not anymore up to date. So I think this seamless workflow is super important.
Great. Thank you, Jorgen. Aline, so let's hear your perspective. Max's question is one farmer in Finland to another one in Romania. You talk very positively in your opening remarks about the value of AI and digitization. How are you managing that interoperability between systems and platforms with all the technology that is available? Do you see it as a challenge, or you're finding your way through it?
Even though agriculture technology solutions are on the market, the licenses are expensive, and each one comes with. Do you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit blurry, but so maybe just lean forward a little bit so we can hear.
Comes with own closed ecosystems. We still lack a universal platform that brings together data from sensors, drones, ARP systems, and satellites. Without true interoperability, farmers end up paying extra for custom integrations or data migrations. At the same time, we face a critical skill gap. Agriculture no longer draws in young talent, and our workforce average age hovers around 50. That makes rolling out any complex digital solution an uphill battle. Through Agri-Innovators, the Romanian think tank driving Romania's farm digitalizations, we've proposed the new role of the Farm Technology Officer. Together, we've mapped out the exact skill set required. Now, we need a dedicated training program to educate hundreds of young specialists who can support farmers at every step of their digital journey. Finally, the sheer volume of data a fully digital farm generates every day has outgrown manual management. Reports became dense and hard to interpret. What we really need is a purpose-built AI platform that can ingest these data streams, analyze them, and deliver clear, actionable recommendations, so decision on the farm can be made quickly and confidently.
There you go. That seems like a fair challenge to all the developers in the room. And when you've solved that, let Aline know, and he'll certainly buy it, I'm sure. Okay, we're at the end, so I'm going to look for the 1 or 2 word answer or the decline to answer. We'll go around the panelists. We're 10 years down the track from where we are today. It's 2035. Do you think that AI and digitalization has revolutionized, disrupted agriculture, or do you lean more towards it being in the normal course of technological innovation? And Daniela, just because you're to my left, I'll start with you.
And I agree to answer this one. So I think, I mean, what we all heard, and also especially the first presentation, it's going to be more than a normal development. It's going to be a revolution. No matter what we read about AI, people who work on that solely. So I mean, we work here in a mix of different thematics will tell us that. I think in that sense, it's really important so that we step up in terms of everyone is on the same page with that. We just had, just to add one sentence, we just had 2 weeks ago the plenary of the Standing Committee of Agricultural Research. It's a committee of all member states and associated countries. And one of the discussion points was how to bring in the capacity and the knowledge also within that network, because those are the people who also then help the private sector and the development in the country. So I think the urgency is seen that this is really something everyone has to be has to have this on top of their mind because it's gonna come fast.
Super, great. Stefan.
Yes, a clear yes. I mean, what we have seen, what has happened in the last 10 years, and I mean, if you see how rapidly technology is changing our day's life, this is also going to happen for farmers and for agriculture, very sure.
Super. So we've got a revolutionary frame of mind here in the room. Jürgen, revolution and disruption, or this is the normal flow of innovation and technology that we've seen in agriculture over the last 70 years?
No, I think it's definitely, you can always debate maybe about when it's a revolution or a disruption. I think we definitely see an accelerated pace in terms of innovation. I'm just going to call you two numbers. Those are also public from us. End of 24, we had worldwide 650,000 machines connected. And we had, on the other side, 175 million hectares digitalized. So if you think about the amount of information that is being becomes available also, to really, make decisions in a much smarter way. I think this is something that is rapidly happening. And we see also, for example, with our first spot spray technologies, like in North America, a relatively fast, adoption and growth. But we also need to take the customers and the farmers with us, that they can fully utilize the benefits from the technology. So that's an important element. But definitely, I think, I think if we want to solve the big challenge of feeding a world with high quality food while doing it in a much, much more sustainable manner, those technologies and Precision Ag play an absolutely fundamental role.
Super. Thanks so much indeed, Jürgen. Aline, we started with you. We'll finish with you. Your perspective, revolution and disruption or normal course of technological innovation in agriculture?
Unfortunately, Aline is right now on the farm, and sadly his internet is going off and has priorities of harvest. So we will have to wait and see what the future brings for his farm and for others.
Some call it a diplomatic illness. Others would say he declined to answer the question. But I think we could get a sense of where probably Aline was coming from. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been an absolutely fascinating tour through, and I don't want to call it just the technical aspects, all the dimensions there. I think were on display of what we mean by AI and digitalization. So please do join me in thanking Aline, Stefan, Daniela, and of course, Jürgen. Terrific. Thank you.